Recording now, so we're good.
Oh.
All right, all you.
Alrighty. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. So, like I said, my name is Vanessa Sotomayor, and welcome to the Worth Effect Workshop. This originally, full disclosure, originally I crafted this back in December. So there has been evolution to it, and it's primarily directed towards women. But please, for the men in the call, this is very universal, and I don't want you to think that you're left out here just because the imagery is more like feminine leaning. Just stay with me, okay? Because this is applicable to all of us, okay? Um, okay, let me share here. Can you all see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay. Okay. So here is what's inside. So we're going to do a nervous system landing in just a second. I'm going to share a little bit about me. I'm going to dive deep into why we burn out, what reparenting is, some tools and practices that we can take just today. And I'm going to speak about a little bit about the worth effect, which is my specific framework. So if anybody wants to hop in and share something, even on the chat, please feel free to do so. But what we're going to practice right now is a 4-7-8 breathing. Is anybody here familiar with 4-7-8 breathing? I can't see everyone. Okay. So I'm going to guide you through this initially, and we're going to repeat this breath 3 times. So I'm going to guide you through. So it's an inhale for 4 seconds. We hold the breath for 7, and then we release for 8. And this is just to ground us into this moment, to be able to arrive in this moment. Okay. So inhale for 4, hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4. Hold 7. Exhale 8. Last time. Inhale for 4. Hold 7. Exhale for 8. Okay. I hope you all did that on your own timing. So, quick somatic check-in. I just want you to tune into your body right now. Invite you to tune into your body and notice if there's anything that feels tense. If your jaw is, I know a lot of us are eating right now. If the jaw is clenched, if the shoulders are tense, if there's any tension in any part of the body, just check in and notice. We're not fixing anything. We're not doing anything with it. We're just noticing. In this space, all feelings are welcome. And this is a space of compassion, curiosity, and zero judgment. We're not here to judge anybody. So, a little bit of my story and why reparenting matters. So, for the longest time, I had led this life which didn't feel true to me. It didn't feel authentic to me. I left a 20-year corporate career after I was let go. But for those 20 years, I never felt that life really belonged to me. It's one of those things where I just like fell into it. And along the way, I forgot to question why I was doing what I was doing. I forgot to tune into myself, my inner wisdom and my knowledge, and ask myself, is this really what you want to do? And along the way, I did a lot of healing. And that period taught me what I now know. And it's that I couldn't be aware of my own needs, of my own desires, of what I really wanted to do in life because I was so disconnected with my own self, with my own inner wisdom. And it took me being let go from my job to really tune into that. Because when I lost my job, I lost my entire sense of identity, my entire sense of self, because I had attached so much of my self worth into this career. It was a 20-year career, it's not a small thing. And so when I lost it, I really spiraled and I really got to know what it is that I wanted. I stopped, I took a pause and checked in with myself. What is it that I want? What is it that I've been settling for? What is it that I desire? Who do I want to show up as? Who do I want to be in this world? And that is why your parenting matters, because we, most of us, if not all of us, carry patterns, carry conditioning that has been instilled in us since very young, since a very young age. And the reparenting journey is about becoming, and I'll, I'll explain more, but becoming that person that we needed for ourselves. Why do we burn out? So many of us are operating, like I said, from these old cycles of the old conditioning, the old patterns, these old cycles that were integrated in our brain from very early on. We don't burn out. Like, burnout doesn't have anything to do with workload or with doing too much. It's really about doing too much of the things that don't fill our cup. Is doing too much of the things that we really don't want to do and not doing enough of the things that we really want to do, the things that make us happy, the things that make us feel fulfilled and joyful and playful. Even when we grow up, we're adults, we adults forget to play, we forget to communicate with each other, we forget to connect. We lose that along the way because we get so laser focused on career, on our job, on making money, on being successful. And so that is essentially why we burn out, because a lot of times we equate our productivity with our self-worth, with our value. The more I produce, the more successful I am, the more valuable I am. We reward, or over functioning is rewarded. We glorify it. We say, the more you do, the more you deserve. We normalize hyper independence. We don't want to rely on anybody. We think that we can do it on our own and by ourselves, and we normalize that need or that belief that we don't need anybody, when we actually very much do. We're not meant to do life alone. We all need support in whatever way, in many different ways, but in whatever way is needed for us to achieve what we want to achieve in life and the success that we want to achieve, because success can be different for many of us. Like, well, how do you define success? Do you define success by how much you produce, by how much money you have, by how many material things? Do you define success by how much peace and joy you have, how much presence you bring to your family, to your kids? We all have different definitions of success. Many of us didn't learn or weren't allowed to rest. Rest needed to be earned. When you reach XYZ goal, then you can rest. When you work until 5, then you can rest. Rest was not only not normalized, but in many situations punished or looked down upon. And the reality is that rest is a biological, physiological need. We don't need to earn rest. We actually need rest to be able to produce better, to be able to show up better, to be able to lead better. Celebrating in many of us, and again, this is female leaning, but pay no attention to that. Our needs were in many ways silenced, because having needs or showing needs or voicing needs was categorized as being selfish. And that could have been when we were younger, when in our relationships, in our careers, having needs became selfish at some point. And We were celebrated for being selfless, for giving more than enough, or for giving a lot of ourselves into another, whether that be, again, our children, our spouses, our career. That was celebrated. And so burnout isn't really a personal failure. It is a nervous system strategy that we had to learn to feel safe in the dynamics in which we grew up. And we just unconsciously repeat these patterns throughout our life. And the result of that is burnout, is chronic self-abandonment, which leads to stress, which leads to illness, which can lead to many other things. And so again, burnout has zero, or not zero, very little to do with um, workload or us doing too much. It's more of a nervous system, emotional piece. So where do these self-abandonment patterns come from? So like I said, in childhood, this is how we learn to feel safe. Many of us learned to not disappoint our caregivers, our mothers, our fathers. We learned that love was conditional. We needed to be good to deserve love. We needed to perform. We needed to get good grades. We needed to make the team. We needed to be a stellar athlete. We needed to be all of these things to be able to get our parents' validation, approval, love. And in some cases, sadly, this was withdrawn, even the attention, the validation, the love, if we didn't get the good grades, if we did something wrong, if we made a mistake. So disappointing, we grew up knowing how to not disappoint our caregivers. We learned to stay silent, to silence our own needs, because if I voice how I feel, maybe my dad or my mom will not like it. They will punish me for it. They will make me feel like, they will make me feel uncomfortable. Whatever the story, all of this comes from a story that we likely learned very early on in our childhood. So we managed our emotions in order to keep the peace. And many of us carry this into relationships. We are afraid to tell our partner, our spouse, how we really feel, because we don't want to discomfort them. We don't want them to feel, we don't want them to get angry. We don't want to disappoint them. And it just transfers into how we raise our kids, and transfers into how we lead at work. All of these things show up in every aspect of our life. Silencing our feelings and emotions because they were too much. When we have a lot of big feelings or a lot of things coming up, men are generally taught not to cry, because crying, somebody told us that crying means you're soft, and like you're a wussy, and all of these things. So a lot of men learned not to cry, not to express their emotions. Women learned not to get angry, not to express anger. Anger was punished. Like, that is not ladylike. Many of these beliefs and patterns we are still carrying without really noticing that we are carrying them. And what we do now is shrink them, shrink ourselves, shrink the feeling, shrink the emotion, or numb it, or pretend it's not there, or silence it altogether. We trusted our caregivers' opinions, their voice, over our own. And this is something that we still carry, obviously. And this is for those of us who are parents here, we obviously carry our values, our own internal wisdom and knowledge, and we impart that into our children in the same way that our parents imported that knowledge onto us, right? So it's not anybody's fault. This is just how we grow and how we learn. And so at some point, we learned to adopt our parents or our caregivers' opinions. That could go as far as even political and religious and any other belief that they had. We most likely adopted. And so now that we're adults, we have the capability, the responsibility, the ability to question everything, to question, is this belief still true? Versus what am I choosing? Am I choosing this belief, this pattern, this story? Am I choosing this path? Am I choosing this person, or am I just tolerating? Am I choosing this relationship? Am I choosing this career? Or am I just tolerating something that I thought was what I needed to do? I thought is where I needed to be. And so Now we have the capability, the maturity, the intelligence, the responsibility to question that and to choose again if needed. Many of us tolerated disrespect over being seen as you're selfish for wanting too much, for having needs. You're selfish. And so we learned how to tolerate disrespect, even in subtle ways. All of these patterns come from previous conditioning and previous um, behaviors that we adapted in our childhood. And so we learned how to survive, not how to really connect to ourselves and with ourselves. We learned how to function in those dynamics. And so repeating these patterns in adulthood leads to disconnection from ourselves, leads to us betraying ourselves and betraying our truth and living in authentic lives. Is learning how to meet your own emotional needs with compassion. We all have needs. We all need rest. We all need play. We all need joy. We all need love. We all need validation. We all need compassion. And if we are not able to give those things to ourselves, is it really fair to expect another to give those things to us? Is it really fair to put that pressure on another when we can't really even give that to ourselves? So reparenting really is learning how to treat yourself and give yourself the validation, the recognition, the compassion, the love that you may not have received when you were younger, that you may still not be receiving. It is learning how to self-soothe and regulate your nervous system. When we are young, and a lot of us, like, maybe we had a tantrum, maybe our kids have a tantrum, maybe we overreact or we just explode with feeling and emotion because in that time we don't really know how to cope. And so it is learning how to stabilize the nervous system, how to go into a baseline where we can teach ourselves how to come down from the reactivity. So then we are responding to life instead of reacting to it. We can make decisions from a grounded place. Our baseline becomes neutral instead of high over here. I'm just reactive, angry, frustrated, etc. Or sad, or I can't function, or I can't make a decision. All of these things. When we learn how to regulate our nervous system, we can show up better for ourselves, for our partners, for our peers, for our employers, for our careers, for everybody in life. Just our life completely changes when we go from reactive to responsive. Giving yourself the validation, protection, love, and encouragement you didn't receive. How many of us don't currently have a cheerleader in our lives? Maybe you don't have anybody that supports you or believes in you. And now you get the chance to be that person for yourself. Choosing behaviors from self-trust instead of old conditioning. This is a lot of people, I've been running into this more and more lately. A lot of us have decision fatigue. We have so much on our plates. We are carrying so much. We overthink everything. Decision making is just the hardest thing that we can do. I spoke to a colleague peer, and she mentioned, like, oh, we were wanting to have coffee. She's like, please choose the place because I don't want to make another decision, and it drives my husband crazy, and I don't want to pick a place and all of these things. And I'm like, I get it. She's like, I make decisions every single day. I spend every day, all day, making decisions. I don't want to decide one more thing. And that fatigue, that decision fatigue, that overwhelm, that overthinking comes because we doubt. Many of us don't know how we are meant to make decisions. There's a very specific way in which each of us is meant to make decisions. Not everybody decides in the same way. Not everybody is meant to produce in the same way. Not everybody is meant to work in the same way. Not everybody has the same amount of energy. Like, we are all different. And a lot of the decision fatigue is because we doubt the decisions. We don't trust ourselves enough. We overthink the decision, and then we're just harder. So when we choose behaviors that are rooted in self-trust, life gets simpler. Our brain has more space to think about the things that matter because we are sure and we are clear in the decisions that we're taking in the moment. So you are not broken. We're not broken. We are just conditioned. We have been patterned, and patterns can be disrupted and they can be rewired. Reparenting isn't really about fixing yourself. There's nothing to fix. It's about creating that inner safety that perhaps we didn't feel or get when we were growing up. And this is how self-trust, boundaries, and sustainable energy are rebuilt. And boundaries, excuse me, boundaries is key when we talk about building self-trust, when we talk about reparenting ourselves. A lot of people think that boundaries are punishment for the other person. Excuse me, when boundaries are really protection for us. Boundaries are not to punish the other. Boundaries are to protect our own energy, to protect our own worth and value. So that is setting boundaries and learning how to set healthy boundaries is key in learning how to reparent ourselves. So how do we do this and what can be supportive? Like I said, nervous system regulation. If you feel triggered, if you feel activation, if you want to do the thing but have fear, if you have doubt, pause, notice what is coming up. Maybe you need to take a lap around the building. Maybe you need to take some time outside. Maybe you need to take a deep breath. Maybe you need to spend some time in nature. Maybe you need water. Maybe you need to dance. You need to play. Maybe you need to listen to music. There's many ways in which we can regulate our nervous system. Maybe it's a deep breath, or 3 or 5 or 10. Emotional honesty. Expect to connect with ourselves fully and truly if we cannot be honest with ourselves. We cannot be honest with another if we don't know how to be honest with ourselves. And so we first have to check in. How am I feeling? What am I needing right now? What do I need right now? And just be honest with whatever answer comes up. How do I feel about this? Do I really want to commit to this thing? Do I really want to do this thing? Do I need rest? Do I need water? What do I need? Etc. So being emotionally honest with yourself is crucial in being able to reparent yourself and showing up how you are meant to show up. Boundaries, like I said, self-validation, validating yourself. Hey, I'm angry. Like something as simple as telling yourself, hey, I'm angry right now. I am. And let me move through this. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling grief. I'm feeling anxious. And reframing the I'm feeling X versus I am sad, I am angry, I am anxious. No, we're not. We're not any of those things. We feel those things. We're not anxious, we're not angry, we're not sad, we're not happy. We feel those things. And that tiny shift does a lot for you, because then you don't identify with it as that. You don't create that your identity. You're validating the feeling. You're allowing it to be there. Then you can sit with it. Where is this coming from? This is a different workshop and this is deeper work, but where is this coming from? Let yourself feel it. Let yourself move through it. Let yourself move it out. Permission to rest and need. Give yourself permission to rest without guilt. Give yourself permission to need, to have needs, to have desires. If you had a kid, or if you have a kid and your kid is just exhausted, they've done so much, they're exhausted, but they have to clean up or they have to do one more thing, would you really get angry if they needed rest in that moment? Or would you allow them to rest and be like, okay, go take a nap or whatever, and you pick it up when you wake up, or that kind of thing? Like, that's the idea. Can you give yourself permission to rest, for that thing to wait? We don't have to, things don't have to be urgent. Like, things, we don't have to do all the thing or feel like we needed to finish the whole thing. And if we do, like, we don't have to do the entire thing for it to mean something, for it to create value, for it to be working. We can give ourselves permission to rest even when the thing is not done, even when it's not completed. We can put the computer away and I'll get back to it. That doesn't mean that it's going to go all away. It's just not going to disappear. Nothing's going to happen. And the funny thing is, and what I have experienced in my own life, is the more I lean to rest and to nervous system regulation, the more better things happen. The easier and the more like blessings come into my life. I can't explain how this happens, other than it is how you're in alignment with your highest self, with your truth. Because when we exert ourselves, when we overgive, when we overfunction, who are we doing that for, really? Like, what would it mean if we don't do that? Can we give ourselves permission to be human? We are not machines. We are not robots. Can we give ourselves permission to be human? And sometimes it takes telling that old version of you, because likely you think that that's what you've been carrying. I need to do this, and I need to, this will get the approval of the boss, or this will get my spouse to look at me differently, or this will get the approval, and the reality is that in doing that, we are abandoning ourselves, our truth. We are ignoring our own needs. And if we don't take care of ourselves, then we are not able to show up for another in the best way. We cannot pour from an empty cup. And so showing up for ourselves improves how we show up in life, how we lead our teams, how we lead our businesses, how we lead our families, how we lead in relationships. So reparenting is not blaming our parents. That is not what we're doing. It is not their fault. They did the best that they could with the tools that they had. Now we have different awareness. We have more information. We have more tools. And so we can allow these feelings, these patterns, the conditioning to come up without blame, because they didn't know any better. Our parents are not to blame. They didn't know. But guess what? Now we do know. We know. We have this awareness. We can choose differently now for ourselves and for our children. Reparenting is also not reliving the trauma. Most of us suffered some sort of trauma. Could be big trauma, what they call big T, small t trauma. We all have something that we carry: pain, beliefs, our perception of the situation, right? It's not about reliving that. It's about validating it, being honest with yourself, and being aware enough to say to yourself, hey, I went through this. This was hard. I want to move past this now. I don't want this to control my life. I don't want this to limit myself, my growth, my success. I don't want this to show up in every relationship that I get into. I don't want to lead from this place of pain and doubt and constant overthinking. I want to reconnect with myself. And so reparenting is essentially becoming the safe, steady, compassionate inner authority that you may have never had. Practical tools. I use these every single day. So this is a somatic tool. This is what we did at first. It's pretty simple. And sometimes the human brain wants to complicate everything. We want to complicate. We think if it's not hard or complicated, it's not worth it or it doesn't work. But the reality is that the simplest things are the most effective. Drinking water, taking a breath, taking a walk, movement. So this tool number one is creating safety in the body, is tuning into what is present right now. Being able to close your eyes, take a breath. How are you feeling right now? What is coming up right now? And you can do it now. You don't have to. You can practice this later, but checking in with yourself. Where am I feeling tension? Where am I feeling discomfort? For me, my tell is this shoulder, this left shoulder, like it's just up here when I'm stressed or worried or anxious. I'm just like hanging out like this all the time. And it takes me noticing that, clocking it, like, oh, okay, like let me scan my body and then tell yourself, hey, everything's okay. Everything's going to be okay. What is the truth in this moment? What is the reality in this moment? And guiding yourself through that, sitting with yourself and telling yourself, oh, it's okay. I see the tension. I see that you're worried about XYZ. I see it. We're just notice. Okay, I see it. That alone changes everything because then you are constantly communicating with your body. Your body is constantly giving you signs and signals that eventually, if you catch them fast enough, will prevent you from burning out. The body is always giving you signals. And so the more we listen to them, the more we notice them, the more we connect to ourselves, the more we connect to our inner wisdom, the more we can change the pattern, the more we can change our direction, the more we can choose again and lead from that place. The more we can trust ourselves to make the correct decision, the more we can trust ourselves to move forward, even when we doubt, even when we have fear, even when we're nervous. The second tool is inner guidance. So this is one that I practice even with my 7-year-old. This is completely universal. I do this myself too. Saying the thing out loud, if it's, and you can practice with a small decision, because essentially all of this will help you make the big decisions and be steadier and clearer with your big decisions, with your life-changing decisions. Eliminate the fatigue, eliminate the overthinking. But first we start small, right? Baby steps. And so it's listening to your body. What do I want to eat? Do I want to eat chicken or beef? Do I want to go for a walk or go for a bike ride? The simplest decisions, speaking them out loud and checking in to see if it's a yes or a no. The body will tell you. How will tell you? If you contract, if you feel activation, if you feel contraction, your stomach, it's a no. If you feel tense, it's a no. If you check in and you feel expansive, you feel relaxed, if you feel it feels easy and calm, it's a yes. And the body will always know. The body will always tell you. You can practice this with little things, like little tiny things. Do I want to go to this event? Like, oh, everybody invited me to happy hour. Whatever. Like, do I want to go? Yes or no? You're going to feel it. Do I want to go to this coffee meeting with XYZ? Do I want to do this thing? Do I want to start small? That's the premise behind my work. So fear versus intuition. Fear is going to be contractive. Fear is going to be, you're going to feel tense. You're going to feel activation perhaps in the chest. You're going to feel your heart racing. You're going to feel your mind looping, your thoughts looping. All of that is fear. None of that is truth. When we feel the truth in our body, it feels easy. It feels clear. It feels calm. It feels neutral. If it feels anything other than that, it's probably fear, doubt. It's probably a no. And this is how you listen. You learn how to listen to yourself again. You learn how to reconnect to yourself again. So this is pretty much my framework. This is what I call the worth effect. It's these small shifts that we can do to create self-trust, to create safety in the body, to feel safe making the decisions that we're here to make. These micro shifts compound. So eventually you do enough of these little tiny changes, they will compound and they will come more naturally. You will feel more connected to yourself, to your truth, to your authenticity. You will stop doubting yourself, or not even stop doubting yourself. That's not, no, you will have doubt. We're human. We'll have doubt. It's being able to be with yourself with the doubt and taking the step anyway, moving forward anyway, feeling the fear, noticing that it's there and moving anyway, trusting yourself enough to take the step forward, to make the change, to speak more of your truth, to live more in your truth. This is how we stop abandoning ourselves without burning our lives down. You don't have to go quit your job. If you're unhappy or you feel unfulfilled right now, you don't have to burn everything down. You can start making these changes now, little by little, and that alone will improve your quality of life. That alone will change how you lead. That alone will change how you show up for your kids, for your partners, for yourself. Examples of this, I've already said a few, but pausing and saying, let me think about that. Like, let me think about that. You get an invitation or you get a task, you get whatever, something that comes up. Let me think about that. You can wait. So people can wait. People can wait until you decide. You don't have to feel the pressure to say yes or no immediately. People can wait. Pausing before fixing someone's feelings. Just listening to yourself, to the other. There's nothing to fix. Asking yourself, what do I need right now? Do I need water? Do I need a walk? Do I need to get my eyes out of this computer? Do I need to touch grass? Do I need to hug a tree? What do I need? Do I need connection? Do I need a hug? Do I need to talk to another adult? What do I need right now? Being able to ask yourself that. Stepping away before reacting. How many of us have not have sent an email and then regretted it, or hit reply, oh, we weren't thinking, and we go and then chaos, or the pressure of, oh my God, I just did that. That is such a human thing. How many of us have not snapped at our kids because we are completely overwhelmed from work, and then we take it out on our kids or we take it out on our spouse? Stepping away before reacting, learning how to be when you feel it in the moment, because the body's going to show you that you're overwhelmed, that you're angry, that whatever, frustrated, whatever comes up, the body will tell you. You'll feel your heart race. You'll feel hot. You'll feel the activation, right? In that moment, step outside, go. Give yourself permission to remove yourself from the situation enough to come back regulated, so you can respond instead of react. And that'll change how you show up in work, how you show up for your family, for yourself. Telling the truth, Like these little things. How do you, maybe it's a no, but you want to say no, but you say yes. Tell the truth. You don't know. It's a perfectly adequate response to something, to an invitation or to anything. So telling the truth kindly and allowing yourself to do that, with time, everything compounds. And then you will create that safety in yourself because you'll learn that, hey, I said no and nothing happened. Okay. Hey, I said no and the world didn't fall apart. Hey, I rested and my work is still there and I didn't miss anything. Hey, I took a breath or I stepped away and life just continued. Okay, what a great thing. That's how the safety gets created. That's how the new pattern gets created. I mean, I want to open it for questions or shares. You can ask yourself today, what is one place where I can stop abandoning myself this week? What is one way that I can stop abandoning myself this week? You can ask yourself at any point and see what comes up. See what your body reveals to you. See what is the first thing that comes to mind, because something will come to mind. Something will show up when you ask yourself these questions. What micro shift can I start experimenting with now? What can I practice right now? What can I practice that'll make me feel better? Where can I do more of the things that I want to do? Where can I make this more fun for me? Where can I find more ease? What would it look like to choose myself today? Maybe it's establishing a boundary. Maybe it's tuning in more often, not forgetting about yourself. This is how we rebuild our inner safety and our self trust. This is how we move away from burnout and overthinking and decision fatigue and self doubt. All of these things are human. I very recently sat in a room of high level human beings, and we all go through the same things. There is no amount of money in the world that'll rid you, that'll rid us of our doubt, of our fears, of our imposter syndrome. It's just different levels. It's just different levels. We are human. We are not immune to those things. And it was very humbling for me to be in that space and and realize that, because many of us think like, oh, when we reach a certain level, when we reach this financial goal, when we reach the ceiling, when we reach X level of success in my business. No, all of these things are still there and will continue to be there. But now we have the ability, the maturity, the resources to choose differently. And then we keep choosing differently. We keep showing up differently for ourselves. We keep breaking our own ceiling. So I want to, if you would like to take this work deeper, I am going to, let me see what I'm going to do. I'm going to share. I have a self-trust clarity session. It's a gift. If you are all, or any of you is interested, I have a few spots open. So I'm going to drop the link here in the chat. But I would love to hear from you. If anybody wants to share, if this resonated with you. Let me see the comments.
No, I'll share. No, this
This
really
is just the
resonated for me.
AI
Sorry.
assistant, Jen. Oh,
Nope, that's Dave.
Okay,
That's
wait.
real.
Men need
That's
this.
me. Nope. I always got
Men
something to
need
say.
this all day. Chase purpose, not money. Only peace at home, too. Space, low drama. Let them earn and feel important. I have hit burnout several times in my career, and it is more because of the lack of space or drama and not feeling important in your home than all else. We have to go out into the world, hunt, and come back to peace. Absolutely. And who said this? Stavros? Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. If you want to say more, please do so. But this is absolutely true, and this is something that I have personally
That's
experienced in this
actually my
journey.
son's name.
How much? Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I'm
What is
Michael,
your
but that's
name?
my son's name, so I'm using his computer. So, sorry.
Gotcha. No, you're good. So, Michael, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And yes, that is something that I have seen more and more in this journey. The fact that men are drowning as well. It's not only women. We are all, first of all, where is our humanity? Like, I think a lot of us forgot that we're human. We're not robots, we're not machines. And so it shows up in different ways for men and women, but men are not exempt from this. Men have so much pressure. There's the societal pressure to provide, to be the provider, to be the one that goes out and gets it, to be the man of the house. All of these conditioning and all of the conditioning and all of these patterns, many men, and I've seen this now more than ever, need that space to express, need that space to feel safe. And what happens when the women are overwhelmed and the women are burnt out and the men needs to express, but they come together, there's no space for either. And then we can't be that safe space for the man in my life because I'm already over here, tapped out, maxed out. And the man is just swallowing it all. The woman is just swallowing it all. And then it compounds and compounds and compounds. And then we explode and then we're unhappy. And then resentment builds and then relationships fall apart or we're not happy in them. It is very true. And many things, that's the purpose of this work, is finding out what works for you, finding out what works for each individual, and leaning into it. Because if we all have needs. If we can't tend to our own needs, we cannot, if we don't even know what our needs are, we cannot expect somebody else to know. We cannot, it is not fair to put that pressure on anybody else to fill my cup. We are all responsible for our own cup. We just have to be okay with the fact that we're human. We have needs. We need to express. We need to feel. We need to cry. We need to fight. Or not fight. We need to express anger. What is it that we need? And like reconnecting with yourself so you know what that is, so you can address it, so you don't burn your entire life down. So, Michael, thank you for sharing that.
And I know Dave had something to say too.
Does anybody else want to share any reflections?
I keep getting interrupted over here. But that's okay. So, so no, this really resonated with me a ton. So, like, how does someone know? I'm going to use this myself as an example. For 20 years, I didn't know that I didn't know how to feel because I suppressed it that good for that long.
Me
So,
too.
where would someone start? Like, if they don't even recognize this is an issue? Like, it took me a while to figure that out. I remember I had the aha moment. It's like, holy shit. Just because I got so good at suppressing for a couple decades.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I feel you. I'm same here. I took forever to figure this out. I think when we're ready, we're ready. Like, you can't really, that is the work that I'm here to do. I'm here to show people and guide people into how to connect with the signals that the body's telling you or the body's giving you to show you this. Like how do you know? Because you get triggered, you get activated, something happens that you're like, you lose it, you feel deep emotion, you feel like a deep activation. But if you're not aware, if you cannot notice that what you're feeling, you can't really address it, right? So now you have the awareness, you have that knowledge, and so you can do something with it, and then perhaps notice it in another, and then guide them. We're not fixing anybody, but guide them into, oh, you seem very angry about this, like, you okay? Or like, what support do you need? And that's how we create connection. That's the trickle effect of this work, being supportive to other people that don't know that they're feeling these things, because the truth is that we don't know until we know. But that's how we start notice, like when we notice, that's how we start being able to make change. So whatever aha moment you had, that's what you needed in that moment. Like it's like when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear,
Yeah, I'm so I'm gonna play devil's advocate with that. Because I've experienced this in my life building multiple businesses. When the teacher's ready, the student appears.
Sure. That too. I see that as being true in my life as well. So yeah. And thank you for playing. I love a challenge. I love a devil's advocate. But yeah, that is true. It goes both ways.
Yeah, it was just a thought that popped in my head one day, and I shared it with a mentor of mine, and he's like, "Holy shit, Dave! I've never thought about it like that." And it makes a lot of sense when yeah, I agree 1,000% when the student's ready, the teacher appears, but there's two sides to the same coin, and the flip side of that coin would be when the teacher's ready, the student appears because they both need to be ready to appear.
Absolutely. And I feel that resonates with me, because for so long I wasn't ready, and I had teachers, and now I feel like I became the teacher in a way, and yeah, I became ready in my journey, and now people are showing up in my life, and now I have all of these conversations, and now I feel like I have something that is supportive, that is helpful, that is of value, that I can assist other people with. So yeah, 100%. I feel that.
Yeah, I love that because it's like as I've built my businesses, I've had individuals reach out, like ask questions and ask questions. And, I've mentored other people when it comes to business and understanding cash flow, a balance sheet, and a P&L. And it's like you find out how smart you are when you teach something like that. It's like, wow, I just said that. Wow, I never thought about it like that. It's the best way to learn, in my opinion. But you got
Absolutely.
to put yourself into a position where you have something that people want so you can share that, then you can learn from that. That's what I do. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm building here too. And so I- as of right now, a few weeks ago, I spoke in front of 200 women on an event,
Love
and
it.
that was the response. And it's like I didn't even know, like you said, like, oh, I did that, like, oh, I was able to teach that. That's how it felt. But like, you don't know until you know, right? You have to give yourself the opportunity to be the teacher and to be the student, so yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. And yes, yeah, that's a different workshop. But yeah, you have to create something of value, um to be able to support others in their journey, whatever that is. So for me, it's this, and it's based on like lived experience, just based on me studying somatic work and nervous system regulation work, and me going through my own journey and transforming my own life. So I would never teach something that I haven't personally experienced or that has served me in some way, or something that I don't really believe in, because integrity is one of my core values. So, yeah, I think that's what we're all here to do, just to help each other be better and grow and evolve into the best versions of us that we can be.
I
So,
just
thank you,
want to add
Dave.
something on my experience. For me, you sometimes don't know when you're ready. And for me, it was parenting. You have your challenges. So for me, it was at one point, I'm like, okay, got to be something better. So I joined a program called Conscious Parenting. And sometimes you realize you think somebody else has the problem and you want to get into trying to fix how somebody else can do it. But for me, it was the conscious parenting was one of the best programs I've had because it had nothing to do with my kids and everything to do with me. And I believe we have to come to that point when it's enough. And the only way we get to go to that next level is to understand why everything is triggering in me. And what I realize is because that program was the why and the why and the why. And then little by little, as you clear out, I would say my BS, my bullshit, little by little, I realized nothing else was triggering me on other people. So sometimes I love, I think it's Marco or Mike, I'm sorry about if I get the wrong name. Sometimes you want the peace at home, but one has to feel peace within to be the peace for somebody else. And sometimes to step outside of yourself and understand why one is acting the way they're acting and why is it triggering me the way that it's triggering me. It's the starting point when you know and you realize, okay, there's some emotional stuff that I have to deal with. There's some mental stuff that I have to deal with. And you have to get out of your head first, from my experience, to start understanding what your body is saying. Because if you're always on your head, you will not listen to what the body is saying. And the body is where the emotion sits. But when logic overtakes the emotion, um, it's hard to understand because it's easy to do the blaming game that you made me feel this way, you created me. It was because somebody did something that I acted the way I did. So my experience was, and it's not an easy work, it takes a few years to do that, and you have to be always willing to look into yourself. But you have to clear the mental fatigue, the mental noise. And once the mental noise is cleared, then you're more open to access the emotions and start understanding where they're coming from. And that is just part of what I've learned on my own. And I just wanted to throw that out there, that, yeah, you can become the teacher, you can become the student, but you have to be willing to listen and to learn and to own up to your own things. It's only when you start owning up to some of the things that are holding you back that it's the only way you can move forward. And that's been part of my experience.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Yes, it's about taking responsibility for our life. We are no longer children. You know, we need to, we can't play the victim forever. That's going to take us nowhere, you know? And so, yeah, it's very much about assuming responsibility for every aspect of your life and not seeing, not, like I mentioned, not blaming, excuse me, not blaming our parents because they did the best with what they had. And it's okay. It's seeing the trigger, to David's point, feeling the trigger, seeing the activation, and asking yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Like, what can I learn from this experience? What is this trying to show me? And in that way, pivoting the blame, pivoting the intention, and inward, bringing it inward. Like, what can I learn from this moment? And yes, like you said, it may take a mentor, it may take therapy, and it takes some time because it has been many years that we have brought these beliefs and carried this weight with us. And so it takes,
You
it's
need
not,
somebody. You need somebody's perspective. I mean, at one point you are where you're at and you only can see what you can see. You need somebody else to bring that perspective in. So you definitely, I don't think it's a job that you can do it on your own. You can do a lot of work, but you can only see what you see based on your beliefs, based on your assumptions, based
yep.
on what you know. And you need somebody's perspective to come in and expand those thoughts and opportunities, and you have to be willing to listen and not play defensive because you have to be open to knowing that whatever perspective is coming is there to help you expand. But on your own, because I tried it on my own, you can do it only sometimes, but you can only see how much you can see on your own unless somebody brings you a perspective that takes you away from the thought process that you've been operating for a long time. So
Absolutely.
I do truly believe you need someone else. At one point, you reach a scale, and if you want to push that a bit further, somebody needs to be on there to support you on that journey. So Absolutely.
We're not meant to do this life alone.
No, we're not.
You know, we all need support. Nobody's above it. Nobody's above getting help and support. And so that is part of what I do, you know, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. But yes, sometimes we need, first of all, we're human beings, we're wired for connection. We need somebody to reflect to us what is David saying? Somebody to reflect to us what it is that we're coming up against. I've never given up on me. My intention every day is to be 1% better than I was from yesterday, even though my actions are not always in my best interest. My intention is to always be 1% better. Thank you for the great presentation thing. Okay. Yeah, I think we cannot forget that we're human, that we're going to make mistakes, you know, that we may feel like we took 20 steps back every time we take one step forward. We just have to keep going and keep our heart in the right place. But yes, it takes time. It takes a mentor or multiple, it takes support. And more than that, it takes the willingness to be a student, the willingness to want to be better, the willingness to listen to the things that you don't want to listen to, like to hear what it is that the icky stuff. It takes willingness to sit with it. It takes strength. It takes courage, you know, but more than that, it's just intention and the willingness to want to be better. And so, yeah, and all of that lives in the body. Absolutely. Everything that we carry from childhood, it's still in the body. If we haven't expressed it, if we like David say, like he repressed all of that is in the body. I don't think we ever get rid of 100% of it. We all have something that's stuck there, and it can show up in many different ways. Illness, sickness, fatigue, depression, anxiety, everything. Everything has a root. Everything has a root. And yeah, the more we learn how to listen to that voice and reconnect with ourselves, the easier it is to move forward, to overcome, to keep going. Thank you, Lorena. Anybody else? Are we, Jen? It's up to you.
We're good. I always let these conversations go as long as they need to, but thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you all who were able to join. I will post this on our YouTube page for Grit and then share it within the community. Keep in mind our next luncheon is next week, Wednesday on the 24th, I believe. Yeah, 24th at the De Pere Lodge. And our speaker is actually going to be Joni, and she's on the call.
Yay!
So I don't know if you want to give them a teaser, Joni. You're welcome to.
Yeah, and in some ways we're going to continue on a part of this conversation because we're going to be talking about how to dispel imposter syndrome and how that is just really not a helpful label to adopt. So
Love it.
some of what Vanessa was talking about today will be touching on that too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
This was wonderful. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Joni. Yeah, I think, like I said, we're not exempt from, nobody's exempt from imposter syndrome or any of these things, no matter what level of success you reach. And I saw this firsthand. I'm like, whoa, this person who's in charge of hundreds of millions of dollars, like a company that's global, and there was still imposter syndrome. I'm like, oh, wow. I you hear about these things, right? We're not exempt, but being in the room and hearing this person's point of view. And I'm like, how the hell do you have imposter syndrome? Guess what? We're human. We're, but yes, I love that, Joni. All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll make sure I share Vanessa's contact information, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, Jen.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.